Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. As mentioned in, what video did I mention it in? I think it was my top 10 sci-fi films I did last week. I did say it'll either be horror or British gems. Now a bit different, I'm not doing a top 10. I've just picked out some British gems that I own in my collection that don't get talked about anymore or were talked about at the time and then just got forgotten. In fact, the first one I think applies because it was really big last year when it came out and then nobody's spoken about it since. Um, just little things from not huge British films, so I'm not including like Train Spotting or Bridget Jones or Love Actually or About Time. None of the big British films. I don't know why those are the big British films that came to mind, but nothing like that. These are more, as I say, gems that I don't think a lot of people know of. Some of them you will, like this first one you probably know because it only came out last year. But yeah, mainly ones that are like gems, literally gems that I don't think anyone has heard of before. There's quite a lot to get through, so apologies. It may be a longer video, this one, but I wanted to make sure I've got all of the ones that I wanted to show from my collection. Because they all deserve to be shown. So I'll get started. First up, we have All of Us Strangers, which, as I say, it only came out last year. But I feel like at the time when it was in cinemas, people were talking about it. And then even towards the award ceremonies, it kind of just lost traction and people stopped talking about it. But it's a fantastic film. On paper, it wouldn't be my type of film, but I've seen it twice now. And it's just, each time you see something different, and it's one of those films that really makes you think. It makes you think what is actually going on, and it leaves it to you to decide. Like you've got to make your own mind up as to what's going on in this and what it really means. And I liked that about this film, and it just felt very British. You've got Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, Claire Foy, Jamie Bell, very good cast. And yeah, it was just a really good watch, quite a hard watch at times, emotional, especially at the end. But yeah, so it was a good one, and I'm interested to see what the director does next, because I think he did one called 45 Years, which I've seen, which I enjoyed. But this one, well, it was one of my favourite films of, was it last year or the year before? Did I put it under? I'm not sure. But yeah, All of Us Strangers. Then we have the first of quite a few Michael Caine films in this list. Another one that came out a few years ago, and this one's called King of Thieves. And this is about the Hatton Garden heist, which happened quite a few years ago now. They also did a TV miniseries about this. This came out about 7 years ago, I think. Got fantastic cast. You've got Michael Caine, you've got Jim Broadbent, Tom Courtenay, Ray Winston, Michael Gambon, Paul Whitehouse, Charlie Cox. Oh yeah, Charlie Cox. Have I forgotten someone? No, I think that's everyone. I said Ray Winston, didn't I? Yeah, just a really good, about a group basically of old men that rob the Hatton Garden diamond deposit or whatever it was. And it's really funny. You've got all these great, terrific British actors working together, and they work really well together. And if you like these sorts of films with all these acting greats in it, highly recommend it. As I say, it's very funny as well. It's a true story, so it's very interesting if you're into like your heist films. And yeah, just really well done. King of Thieves. Next up, we have I was going to say another British film, but they are all British films. The Lady in the Van, Maggie Smith and Alex Jennings, based on an Alan Bennett story, based on his real life story about a lady, I think in the 70s or 80s, and she just parked her van on his drive for 15 years, and they became close friends. Yeah, and Maggie Smith was excellent in this, one of her last roles. I mean, she did do quite a few things after this, but one of, probably, definitely one of her very last leading roles, I will say. But she was fantastic in this. I can't remember, Miss Shepherd, there we go, it does say on the back. You got, again, Jim Broadbent in this. Roger Lamb, Francis de la Tour. Yeah, really good cast. And I remember I saw this one at the cinema when it came out. Really remember enjoying it. So yeah, that's Lady in the Van. Then we have one which I've watched a few times and it makes me laugh every time. And it's called The Love Punch. And as you can see, it stars Pierce Brosnan and Emma Thompson. It's also got Celia Imrie and Timothy Spall. And it's about these two characters. They used to be married, so they're ex-husband and wife. And something that belongs to them is stolen from them, and they want it to be able to basically, I think she's struggling. He lost his job or something. It's been a while. I need to watch it again. And they decide, along with their two friends Timothy Spall and Celia Imrie, they're going to go over to France and get their egg that's worth all this money back. So again, another heist film, I suppose, and I thought it was hilarious. It is really good. Pierce Brosnan and Emma Thompson have great chemistry together. Timothy Spall is hilarious in this. There's a scene at a restaurant with a gun, makes me laugh every time. And yeah, it's just a really funny film. Yeah, if you like your funny, again, heist films with a good cast, definitely recommend that one. Actually, bear with me a second, because talking about Celia Imrie, I've just thought of another one that I forgot to pull down, so I'll just go and grab that quickly. And the film in question that I almost forgot to pull down is one called Finding Your Feet, which again came out 2017, I think, and that's another one I saw at the cinema. It's Imelda Staunton, again Timothy Spall, Celia Imrie, David Heyman, Joanna Lumley, and basically Imelda Staunton plays a character. She finds out her husband's been unfaithful. She's really rich. She's not had anything to do with her sister, played by Celia Imrie, for years, but she's decided she's going to leave her husband, and she goes to live with her sister, who lives in like a flat in the middle of London. And it's kind of her trying to find who she is again, make friends along the way, about starting life all over at her age, finding love again. And yeah, it's just a really good film. Again, great British cast. If you like British comedies, highly recommend this one. Again, very funny. Yeah, I another one I really need to watch again, because I've seen it a few times, but it's been a while. But I remember loving it. Very, as it says on the top, feel good. Definitely is. I love these sorts of films. And we only get them every so often now, which is a shame, because we used to get them like quite often. But yeah, nowadays we don't get these sorts of films as much anymore with a great cast like this. But yeah, that's Finding Your Feet. Next up, we have The Personal History of David Copperfield, which is our Armando Iannucci film, who did The Thick of It, In the Loop, which is hilarious, Death of Stalin, which I haven't included. I have got, but it's because I really do need to rewatch it to comment on it, because I've only seen it the once, very long time ago. But you've got all-star cast, British cast, Dev Patel, Tilda Swinton, Hugh Laurie, Peter Capaldi, Ben Whishaw, Paul Whitehouse, Aneurin Barnard, Daisy May Cooper, Morphy Clark, Benedict Wong, Gwendolyn Christie, Anthony Welsh, and Rosalind Elazar. So yeah, just an absolutely fantastic British cast. And it's basically David Copperfield, as you know, is Dickens in it, but with a twist. With, if you've seen any of Iannucci's stuff before, it's got that sort of weird, witty twist comedy about it. Again, very funny. The characters really brought to life in this, but by the actors. Peter Capaldi's hilarious in this, and Hugh Laurie. Yeah, just fantastic British film again. Highly recommend that one as well. Then we have, which has got bits of my ceiling attached to it for some reason. Must have been too close to the ceiling at some point. But we have The Phantom of the Opera, which came out again a few years ago, based on the true story of Maurice Flitcroft, played by Mark Rylance, who in the 70s, he's just a crane operator, but he decided he wanted to do something else, so he took up golf. He's awful at it, but he somehow managed to qualify for the British Open, and was one of the worst golf players ever in history. and it's his story. His wife's played by Sally Hawkins in this. You've got Risa Fans, who plays like one of the golf officials that's completely against him being in the tournament, because obviously he's come with no experience at all. And yeah, it's just him fighting to be able to do something that he loves. Underdog story, really great film. Mark Rylance is great in this. Another really feel-good, uplifting film. Yeah, another one that I can definitely highly recommend if you like these sorts of films. They're all very similar, these sorts of films, very just feel-good, uplifting films, which is what I like. Next up, we have Shadowlands, which is based on the true story of C.S. Lewis, who was the author of the Narnia novels. In this, played by Anthony Hopkins. He meets a woman, in this played by Deborah Winger, who's a New York divorcee who comes over. He falls in love with her. Something happens, and that's all I'm going to say. It's a love story, really, but it's also about C.S. Lewis's life. It's a Richard Attenborough film as well, so if you like his sorts of films, like true stories, he does like big epic films like Gandhi and Chaplin, that sort of thing, based on real people. Anthony Hopkins is excellent. Very sad film as well. Pretty cheap to get. This is the Mill Creek release from America, but I got it very cheap. But yeah, I'm gonna go through these as quickly as I can now, because there's still quite a few to get through. Next up, we have Stan and Ollie, the true story of Laurel and Hardy in their final twilight years of their career, when they come on a tour of England and Ireland, or Great Britain and Ireland. It's about their friendship and just the performances that they gave to the people. Yeah, Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly, excellent in this. If you like Laurel and Hardy, then this is a no-brainer to watch. Yeah, just as I say, at the end of their career, they're not of great health. I don't know which one went first. I think it was Hardy that went first, if I remember rightly, in the late 60s. But yeah, just a fantastic film. If you, as I say, if you like them, definitely worth giving a go. Next up, we have Viceroy's House, which is about the final Viceroy of India, Lord Mountbatten, in this played by Hugh Bonneville, and his wife played by Gillian Anderson. And it's about them in their final months of the British rule over India, trying to make change, make India an independent country. You've also got Michael Gambon in this one. Seeing if I think that's the only name on the back I can see. But yeah, if you like historical films, if you like films like this about history and British history, and yeah, you'd be all over this one, because this one's excellent. Great performances in this one. Again, it's been a while since I watched it. Another one that I need to watch. But if you like your true stories, especially about British history, then I can recommend that one to watch. Then along the same sort of lines, we have Victoria and Abdul, which is about the relationship between Queen Victoria and Abdul, who was a young clerk that came over to help with the Queen's Jubilee and kind of became her consort and her close friend, which everyone within her circle and her family were completely against, including her son, who in this is played by Eddie Izzard. Judi Dench, fantastic. Her second time playing Queen Victoria after Mrs. Brown. Would love to get a Blu-ray release of that, but I don't think there is one available. Yeah, again, he's popped up quite a lot. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. Michael Gambon again in this one. I can't remember who he plays in this. But yeah, I do remember him in this one. I think he pops up yet again. Don't know how many more times, but he's definitely popping up at least once more, if I remember rightly, from pulling the titles off. But yeah, Victoria and Abdul, really nice, just a good story, and Judi Dench is excellent in this again. Fantastic British film. Stephen Frears, who's a great British director and writer. Yeah, Victoria and Abdul. Then I suppose technically this is sort of an Italian film. The director's Italian, I think, or is he Spanish? Oh, I don't know now. Honestly, don't know, but it was at the BFI London Film Festival. The lead actor's English, so I'm saying it's an English film, and that's Youth, which is a Paolo Sorrentino film. As I say, apologies, but I'm not sure whether he's Spanish or Italian. I don't think I've seen any of his other films. I know him, but I don't think I've seen any of his other films. You've got, as I say, Michael Caine in the lead role, playing a retired composer who has gone to retire in the Alps at this luxury resort for elderly people with his best friend Harvey Keitel, who's a retired film director. You've got Jane Fonda, who's got a small performance in this as a aging actress who used to be in love with Harvey Keitel's character. You've got Rachel Weisz, who plays Michael Caine's daughter. Paul Dano's in this as well. Who else is in this? Does it say on the front? I think I've got them all. Yeah, I think I've got all the main ones. Yeah, but really good film. Watch this for Michael Caine alone. He's fantastic in this. Yeah. Last of the first pile, I know, going on for quite a while, but as I said, I did have a lot to show. We have Military Wives, which came out a few years ago, from the director of The Full Monty, based on a true story about the military wives, who kind of were a group that came together. All of their husbands, their husbands were in the armed forces, so they all lived on this base, and they came together and formed a choir, and it ended up performing for the Queen, I think, and then they obviously did the one of the Jubilees. They did the song with Gary Barlow years ago now, and we got Kristen Scott Thomas, Sharon Horgan. Yeah, another really feel good, uplifting British film based on a true story again. What is probably my favourite Michael Caine film in his later career, at least. Just a fantastic film. Brilliant performance from Michael Caine. Harry Brown. He plays a retired pensioner. Lives in his flat. I think he used to be part of the armed forces. His neighbourhood's going downhill really quickly. There's the gangs and the youth are just very disrespectful. One day, something happens to his close friend, played by, what's his name? Is it David Bradley? Yeah, David Bradley from Harry Potter, played Filch. And he takes the law into his own hands because the police aren't doing anything about it. And it's a revenge film, and he is bloody fantastic in this film. Hard to watch, very violent, very brutal, but just a fantastic film, great British film. And if you like Michael Caine, a must watch, I would say. Next up, we have a Ken Loach film, I, Daniel Blake, one I rewatched not that long ago, and it's based on a man played by, what's his name, Dave Johns. I think this was his first breakout film, first big performance at least, and Hayley Squires as well, because I think that's what Ken Loach does. He picks real people and puts them in these films, and this is about Daniel Blake, who he's had to give up his job because of a health condition. Something's happened to him, so he's trying to get a job, he's trying to get money to live, basically, just desperately trying to find a job. And whilst he's finding a job, he meets up with Hayley Squires' character, who's a single mum of 2 kids, young kids, who's also struggling. She's not got a job either, and it's just about the system and how our country looks after us and what it is to live in modern day Britain, and just how people are treated sometimes nowadays is disgusting. And this film's just so real, so brutal, raw is the word I would use. Very sad again, but brilliant British film. Very real look on how it is to live in Britain nowadays. Another Michael Caine film. He pops up once more after this. Is Anybody There? I haven't seen Sammy G's most recent video, but I did see that he had picked this up recently, so I'm not sure if he's seen it yet or not. But this is a John Crowley film, who did, I want to say he did Brooklyn. I don't know what else he's done. But yeah, it focuses on a young boy. I did watch this last year. A young boy, he's obsessed with ghosts, and his parents run an old people's home, which is where he lives. And Clarence comes along, played by Michael Caine, who's a retired magician, and kind of changes Edward's world, really. You've got David Morrissey, Anne-Marie Duff. Who else is in this? Leslie Phillips. Lots of really like classic British actors, but it doesn't say on the back, and I've completely forgotten. Yeah, it doesn't say on the back, but there are, when you watch this, you'll notice a lot of really well-known older British actors, should I say. And yeah, just a really good Michael Caine performance again. Really nice little story. So if you like Michael Caine, you like a British film, another one I would recommend. And what I believe is the final Michael Gambon film in this video, and that's Judy, which was his final film, I think, which is based on Judy Garland's final years when she was had her what do they call it, residence, I suppose. That's more of a Las Vegas thing, isn't it? But, you know, she was in the West End basically in her final years, and just about what her final years were like. Renee Zellweger won an Oscar, deservedly so, because I thought her performance was fantastic. As soon as I came out of this film, I said no one else could win an Oscar except for her this year, because her performance was incredible. It really made the film what it is. Fantastic film. Just looking at how the system, how Hollywood treated her, it's disgusting. What they did to young people back then on film sets, what they put them through. Yeah, just a fantastic film. Yeah, Judy. Then we have Blinded by the Light, which is quite a recent film. 6 years ago, I think it came out. Based on a true story about a young boy who basically finds his way in the world through the words and the music of Bruce Springsteen, the boss. Growing up in the 1980s, I love films, especially British films set in the 1980s. This really, really does it for me. And yeah, based a lot of Bruce music in this. Just a quintessentially British film. If you love the 80s, if you grew up in the 80s, you will definitely love this film. Yeah, fantastic film, Blinded by the Light. The last Michael Caine film on this list, I think, which is his final film, The Great Escaper. Lovely film, based on a true story about Bernard Jordan, who wants to go over to the D-Day anniversary, 70th anniversary event over in Normandy. So he runs away from his care home to get there to celebrate it. You've got Glenda Jackson in her final film as well. She's fantastic. It's just a really feel-good, uplifting film. Michael Caine again shows he's just a fantastic British actor. He's a legend. Yeah, not much more to say about this. Just a great film. Really enjoy that one. Then two more British acting legends. We have The Good Liar with Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen. In this, Ian McKellen plays a con man who's trying to con Helen Mirren's character out of her money. And it's a cat and mouse film, a great thriller, lots of twists and turns, some terrific performances in this. You've got some supporting performances from Jim Carter, Russell Tovey. Yeah, really good one, this one. I love this film. I saw it at the cinema. Just love these sorts of films again. Love these. We don't get them very often anymore, these really good British thrillers or feel-good British films. But when they come, they're usually good. And that's The Good Liar. Then we have a great zombie film here, The Girl with All the Gifts, which is based on a novel. Basically, when a lot of the people and a lot of the children have been infected with this virus, but not to the extent of the adults, and they're being experimented on, but they've got to basically, the base that they live in is under attack, so they've got to escape. And you've got Paddy Considine, who plays the lead, like army bloke. You've got Gemma Arterton, who plays the teacher, and you've got Glenn Close, Why Did I Blank? Who's Still Like the Doctor. And yeah, it's a really good film, really brutal, really dark. But if you like your zombie films, you like a great British film. I put this on the same lines as like, I say it's like 28 Days Later mixed with, why am I blanking on the name? Dead Man's Shoes. Obviously also starring Paddy Considine. Yeah, really brutal, really good film though. The Girl with All the Gifts. Then we have Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, which is based on the true story of actress Gloria Graham in her final years in England, and she meets a young actor by the name of Peter Turner, in this played by Jamie Bell, Gloria Graham being played by Annette Bening, who they basically fall in love with each other even though there's a massive age gap between them. And it's basically about her final years, the relationship they had with each other. You've got Julie Walters in this, who plays his mother. Fantastic performance. Who else is in this? I can't remember who plays the father, and it doesn't say, which is really annoying. But yeah, really good film. Another great British film based on true story. Again, if you like your true stories, British films, another one I implore you to check out. Next up, we have Fighting With My Family, based on the true story of Paige, who was a wrestler in the WWE. I don't know if she does it anymore. This kind of brought Florence Pugh to fame. Stephen Merchant film, written and directed by him. The Rock's in this. You've got Vince Vaughn, Nick Frost, Lena Headey, Jack Lowden. Great British cast. Underdog story again. Another one, if you like your British films, definitely recommend checking that one out. 4 more. We have The Duke. Another really great British film from a few years ago. I did review it on my channel, and for some reason it got a stupid amount of views. Don't know why, because it's a very small British film that, again, went under the radar. Nobody really talked about. It's about an elderly taxi driver, Kempton Bunton, played by Jim Broadbent, and he steals a Goya painting from the National Gallery in London, and it's the story of what happens next. Helen Mirren playing his doting wife. Who else is in this? Anna Maxwell Martin, Matthew Good. Decent cast. And yeah, just a really nice film. Another really good true story British film set in the 60s. So yeah, The Duke. Then we have one that came out a few years ago that mixed opinions. That is Empire of Light, Sam Mendes, all set in a small English town in the early 80s, and it's all about this cinema and the people that work at the cinema and their lives. Olivia Colman is fantastic in this. You've got Colin Firth, who plays the cinema owner, Michael Ward, Toby Jones, who plays the projectionist. As I said, Sam Mendes film. Brilliant film. Some people didn't get on with this, but I loved it. If you love... Again, it's film set in the 80s, and this is all set around this glorious cinema on the seafront. Definitely one to watch. Definitely recommend that one. 2 to go. We have Buster from the 1980s. Phil Collins, Julie Walters, based on the true story of Buster Edwards, who was one of the great train robbers, the last one to not get caught, I think. And it's basically about him... after he's done the robbery, what happens basically. You got Larry Lamb in this as well, Sheila Hancock. Great British cast, and it's a great British film. Shame Phil Collins didn't do any more films after this, but he's really good in this. Again, another really good true story British film. Obviously, being Phil Collins, got a lot of his music in as well. So yeah, really like that one, Buster. And the final one, which is another really good one, is called Supernova, which is Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci, who play long-term partners. One of them is unfortunately suffering from an illness, and they're travelling in their camper van to this like concert that's all being held in celebration of one of their careers, and it's them looking at their lives and what could have been, what their lives have come to. And it's beautifully shot. It's just the scenery in this is a character in its own. Their performances are excellent. as I say, a film that didn't get talked about when it came out, but I saw it at the cinema, really enjoyed it, and was very happy that it got a Blu-ray release. So yeah, that is Supernova. Told you it was going to be a long one, half an hour just over, but there was a lot that I really wanted to show. Why is it not focusing? There we go. So yeah, let me know if you've seen any of those, if there's any that you're now interested in watching after seeing my list. I'm sure there are more that are on your list that aren't on my list. Those are just the ones that I found that I love, that are in my collection, that I wanted to show. But let me know some down below to recommend if I've not seen them, and I will try and get them if they interest me. But that is it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always get back to anyone that takes the time to leave me a comment, because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.